If you load it up big, you better clear the rest. The solvent list takes away all my stress. Life's been feeling like kind of a mess. I'll never let a hater make me think less, because everything before this was just a test.
Bagsy Chronicles.
I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we've been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, always staying medicated. I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we've been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, always staying medicated. I'm about to go up in a blaze. I don't give a fuck unless I'm getting paid. When life gives you lemons, better make
It has, as always, been too long, but I am, as always, happy to join you. Come with me as I astral project across the 7 microclimates of the Rogue Valley and into the liminal space of the podcasting void. Welcome to the Bagseed Chronicles. I am your host, Uncle Dig, and I have been consuming small amounts of cubensis, and I am feeling silly, spiritual, and spacey. Let's embrace the vibe of the little flying saucers I have been eating and be silly little explorers, even if the landscape can be hostile to us, eh? Speaking of things existing in hostile environments, hell, even thriving, let's talk about one of the beautiful islands of radical thinking that makes life in this world truly interesting. Portland, Oregon. You have been number 1 in my stats for a long time, and that makes me feel special and much less of a poser in my old age. There are many cities that make the Bagseed Chronicles special, but Portland, Oregon, being number 1 in my stats makes it radical. I am going to have kind of a different show today. It will include, of course, a garden update, but also I'm going to talk about some free shit someone sent me, the Tectonic 9 auto dispensing grinder from Claudius 9. And also this. Uncle Dig's garden update. Hello, everyone. It is July 11th, 2023. We are in gardening zone 8B, and this is Uncle Dig with your garden update. The photo periods are all stretching and doing pretty good. I am trellising and topping the larger plants and just skirted the smaller plants for the first time this week. I actually managed to underwater some of the plants this week, but they're recovering from that. It would seem that the neuropathy in my fingers is getting worse, so I'm having trouble telling the difference between moisture and low soil temps, so that sucks. I'll have to get better at eyeballing the plant. Higher Peaks from Oregon Rooted said to let them droop before watering. Maybe I'll do that. The Amnesia Haze, Super Skunk, and CBD Dutch Treat have been fine. I will need to pay more attention to the overnight lows, I think, when deciding to water. There's proving to be an extreme difference between 90 degrees and 104 degrees. The chickens even stopped laying during the heat wave, which rarely happens. I was only able to germinate 7 autoflowers outdoors due to the heat. Even though I tried like 11 seeds, I successfully germinated a Girl Scout cookies, a crystal meth, and an Afghan an Afghan from 420 Fast Buds, as well as a Jesus Christ from Mosca Seeds, Blue Eyes White Dragon, and Planetary Gas from Gemseeker Genetics. Now, all of those plants are doing pretty well. They're a little young to speak of too much. It does seem like the Jesus Christ is struggling outdoors, and I might want to do it indoors next time. And I've already had the top dress, the Girl Scout cookies, because she hit 21 days yesterday. So I top dressed her with a half cup of worm castings and 4 tablespoons of 444 veg and 2 tablespoons of 374 bloom. And a little bit of perlite, and she's liking that. And I watered all that in this morning with some SLF 100. So that's been doing good. It'll be hard to keep track of so many different feed schedules and so many different plants, but I'm looking forward to the challenge, and I'm hopefully looking forward to a a glut of processed flower at the end of all this and toward the end of the summer. My 3 indoor clones are coming up into week 6 since they flipped. They are chonking up nicely and doing very well. I looked at the trichomes under my jeweler's loop, and they're starting to develop really good. I think this forbidden fruit is like a special lady. I'll hate to see her go come autumn. The plant is doing really well and showing little hints of purple throughout the flowers. The other 2 plants, Fire Maruf 1 and 2, are both beautiful, with plant 1 looking like a nice hybridized indica, and the Fire Maruf 2 has that weird, otherworldly, waxed out quality that the good Afghan indicas have. I'm excited to try her. I was worried about growing in 1-gallon nursery pots, but it seems to be working fine so far. I could be harvesting as early as mid-month. At that point, I will be going on hiatus from the Bagsy Chronicles because I will be having plants drying in my studio, and I won't want to be in here mucking about while they are drying. Well, let's overgrow the world. Company set me free shit, and I'm gonna talk about it. You can listen to it or not. I don't really give a fuck if this product's hot. Yeah. A long time ago, during the early days of the podcast, a publicist sent me a box full of free Claudius 9 stuff. I was only supposed to receive 1 small handheld vaporizer, but there was so much stuff in this box I was a bit overwhelmed. Well, one day, my grinder was so fucked up, and I needed a new one. And the podcast to the rescue. I dug into this box, and I pulled out the Tectonic 9 grinder from Claudius 9. I probably put like 6 to 8 pounds of cannabis through this thing. I used it for a year and a half. I smoke about 4 to 6 pounds of cannabis a year, and my partner probably consumes a few ounces as well. A year and a half, this thing trucked along until the battery stopped cycling, or maybe the motor stopped working. I don't know what's wrong with it. Well, I was originally just going to go buy another regular grinder, but I had to go buy another one of these. It has become something I enjoy so much that I went out and bought one on Amazon. You grind your weed, and then it dispenses it via a little flip funnel and vibrating action. It's fun to roll joints with it, and it is also nice to pack bowls with. It seems to distribute the cannabis a little more evenly than pinching it between your fingers. It's not kinky, but it vibrates, so it seems kinky. You don't have to buy one. They haven't paid me shit, and this podcast makes no money. But I really like the Tectonic 9 from Claudius 9, and maybe you will too. If you'd like to give Uncle Dig stuff to interview on his podcast for free, send an email to uncledig4@gmail.com. Baked in politics.
So I was on the subway the other day, and somebody was smoking marijuana on the train. We all know about fentanyl, but marijuana, almost overnight, half the country seems to be smoking it. You're a teetotaler, never drank. What do you think that's doing overall to our competitiveness, to our psyche as a country?
I mean, you see the same studies. It's not helping people. I mean, studies are saying that it does damage. It does significant damage, and yet from a voting standpoint, it's a pretty popular thing. Canada has gone all that way, and other countries have gone all that way. Some countries won't do it. But you're going to take a look at some final results, but indications are that it's not exactly helpful.
What do you think that's doing overall to our competitiveness, to our psyche?
Yet from a voting standpoint, it's a pretty popular thing. From a voting standpoint, it's a pretty popular thing. Indications are that it's not exactly helpful.
So, used to get really mad at our draft dodger and cheap. That was a funny Freudian slip. Draft dodger and cheap. That's funny. But he doesn't really know what he's saying. He clearly doesn't understand what he's saying. He's just saying what he thinks he's supposed to say. The other guy on there, he's a dick. He's a loser. He's a piece of shit, right? He's a fucking guy on Newsmax. Of course, he's not the desired audience of this podcast. Like, fuck him. But, like, the people who vote for Trump are going to latch on to, like, it's that section where he says...
It's yet, from a voting standpoint, it's a pretty popular thing.
And they'll lie to themselves and to you and say that that means he's pro-cannabis, even though his record shows and what he says shows that he's not. And they'll keep voting for him no matter what, because they want the police to be able to lock you up for growing a plant. And no matter what else they say, that's the truth. They want to be violent against people that disagree with them, and they want to use the police to do it. That's always been what cannabis prohibition is about, and that's what it continues to be about. And they will use whatever excuse to not let it happen.
First gentleman from Oregon is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to my friend and former law school classmate, Representative Blumenauer. I just want to say, actually he was a few years ahead of me. I just want to say, I want to draw attention to the bill, page 15, where it calls out the expenditures. And it says the amounts in the trust fund shall be available without further appropriation only as follows. And then it reads, reflects Section 3052A, Part 00 of the Omnibus Crime Control Safe Streets Act of 1968, which I dug out and read through 3 times, looking unsuccessfully for an allocation of money to local law enforcement agencies, such as the ones in Southern Oregon. It's not there. That money is going for very limited, very narrow purposes. How much money? Well, if this 8% tax had been applied to the amount of marijuana sold last year in the United States, the total is $400 million. Not the total sold, the total tax. $400 million, half of which would go to this narrow piece of work. Not saying it's unimportant, but it's narrow. 50% called out here, then 10%, 25%. None to police. So what I'm trying to say is, yes, you've taken this up. Do it right. Get it right. And you have a whole bunch of work that needs to be done to get this bill right at reserve.
So that's Cliff Bentz from Oregon. He's my representative. And he wants the police to get money after they've terrorized cannabis people all this time. And if you agree with him, fuck you. And fuck him too. That sucks, man. And if you vote Republican, that's what you're voting for. Violent oppression of cannabis people and a giant shakedown of the industry they've terrorized. And if you think you're safe, hey, man. One party has been able to roll back constitutional rights. Nothing is finished. And that's why politics is baked in. We meet at a pre-designated spot along the Texas border with New Mexico, just outside of rifle range of the nearest border station. It wasn't too hard to bribe the guards after the famine in 2024. A Whataburger with real beef did the trick. On the other side of the marriage, Mero came to me in a huff. We got on the motorcycles and rode to the nearest refugee camp and the last free Whataburger. If I couldn't sponsor him to Oregon, maybe one of our other Army buddies could sponsor him somewhere else. Since Texas has seceded, it had been harder to sponsor people back into the United States.
It's Todd Wisdom. S&T Records, let's get it. Zecca on the beat. I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, always staying medicated. I'm riding, all the homies with me. Yeah, we been getting hella faded. Just like our eyes, we be staying low-key. Vibing out, always staying medicated. I'm gonna get lit, take another fat rip off this bomb shit. Can't get enough of it, yes. Hitting the best, feeling pretty